Hello everyone and welcome to our video on Islamic business ethics. Today we'll be drawing from Al-Ghazali's Ihya Al-Din Volume 2 alongside two short videos on Ibn Taymiyyah and Islamic economic thought. In this lecture we'll explore how Islamic ethics frame commerce, fairness, and personal responsibility, and you'll notice quite a few similarities with what we saw from St. Aquinas. So let's start with a big question. Why do religious texts even talk about business in the first place? Isn't religion something you do at home or in prayer, and business is, well, business? Religion addresses business because any human action that can be done well or poorly carries moral weight. That means it has to be examined through an ethical and even spiritual lens. If your actions in business can either reflect justice or injustice, either support people or exploit them, then those actions absolutely fall under the religious concerns. Just like lying or stealing, unethical business conduct reflects your values. Al-Ghazali, like St. Aquinas, places tremendous importance on justice in all transactions. Whether it's how prices are set, how goods are sold, how currency is handled, justice is the baseline moral standard. So let's consider a few key examples from the texts and videos. Which do you think is worse, stealing one item from someone or creating a fake coin? Well, Al-Ghazali says that counterfeiting is worse, and here's why. When you steal, the sin is a one-time event. You have harmed one person, and that's where it ends. But if you create a false coin, that coin might change hands hundreds of times. And every time it does, you bear the responsibility for having robbed people of what is rightfully theirs. The people using it don't even know that it's fake, but you do. And so your moral accountability continues to grow with every transaction. And that's why Al-Ghazali says it's worse, because it corrupts the market itself. Second, let's talk about profit. Al-Ghazali, like Aquinas, has no problem with earning a living, but he condemns profiteering, that is, trying to get more than something is actually worth. So imagine we have two people who go to the hospital for the exact same treatment. Bob is charged $50, while Steve, who is worried and distracted, ends up being charged $500. Is that fair? Well, most of us would say no, because Steve is being exploited, and the exploitation is heart of injustice in trade. If the cost of something is tied to labor, materials, and the overhead, then jacking up the price just because someone doesn't know better or happens to be in a vulnerable position, that's what makes it unethical. Next, market manipulation and currency stability. From Ibn Taymiyyah, we hear concerns about manipulating market prices or devaluing currency. And these two are seen as acts of economic justice. They distort the truth of value and undermine the wealth of others, especially the poor. This again aligns with the Islamic emphasis on stability and fairness in transactions. Now there is a modern version of this going on. We are all aware of the inflation as it's happening. By printing more money, in this case not tied to anything, the US government devalues the existing money. In other words, the prices of everything will go up, and so if you had, let's say, $10,000 saved up before the inflation kicked in, suddenly that $10,000 can only buy $5,000 worth of goods. And so you have been harmed because inflation has occurred. Next, on the idea of giving more and charging less when you can, Al-Ghazali also speaks about going above and beyond basic fairness. If you are in a position of wealth and privilege and you are buying from a poor seller, he encourages us to pay a little more if we can. And similarly, if we are selling to a poor buyer, we can afford to lower the price, then we should do so. Their material gain becomes your moral gain. Now, should we always charge people the same regardless of their situation? Not necessarily. You see, Al-Ghazali doesn't set exact rules, but encourages generosity when you can afford it. A struggling shop owner isn't expected to lower prices, but a wealthy one, well, if they can help it, then they should. The aim is not uniform pricing, but justice guided by conscience and context. Now, obviously, part of the reason why we can't set exact rules here is because the circumstances keep changing, both for the buyer and for the seller. And so you, as a member of the marketplace, are expected to pay attention and do good where you can. Next, a word of caution. Al-Ghazali offers us guiding principles, not hard rules. Well, at least for certain things. And that's because every situation is different. What's generous in one case might be ruinous in another. So these ideas aren't about enforcing some kind of moral math. They are about keeping your actions aligned with God consciousness and the well-being of others. If your business habits reflect justice, generosity, and awareness of others, then they're not just economic actions. They become religious ones. And in the next video, we will bring St. Aquinas and Al-Ghazali together to take a look at their shared critiques of interest and usury. See you there.